You made a lot of recommendations at the end of the book about, how to move. And this is, a piece of what you just described. One of the things was sort of, I guess, recreating the U.S. information agency, which was kind of, I guess, subsumed by the State Department at some point. And many other, you have some suggestions about how to do AI development in a way that's constructive, which I thought was very interesting. Before I go there, the pandemic has certainly showed us that in the US and in many Western countries, we're willing to adopt on one hand and accept, I guess, a direction that's very much more similar to what communist China has than what the US traditionally has. And so, I'm moved by what you said moments ago. At the same time, I'm asking myself this question, is it that the West is accepting, through its practice of the last 2 years or so, those types of approaches, much more so than the other way around, which is what you're advocating?
Well, I think that when you have a society that's functioning, an American society that's functioning on all cylinders, it's actually where people are enabled to reach their potential, where there is economic opportunity. I don't think that we truly understand the implication of destroying an industrial base to kind of the soul, the economic soul of the country. And there was this big push, and there still is, to let's just make everybody a coder. If everybody could just be a software developer, then we're going to be great, and other people can make stuff. But there's a segment of our society that always wanted to make stuff, and we basically destroyed that. We hollowed it out, and we said we don't want the dirtiness, we don't want the mess, we really don't even want those people. We want those people to change and be something more than what they were. I think that was bad. That was wrong for us. I think as we kind of settled into that funk where we had no industrial base, we had no manufacturing capability, and we had no working class really that could aspire to better, or could create to even have long-term employment, that they could raise a family and buy a home. You don't have that anymore. You rent a room in Airbnb if you can, or drive for Uber. You don't work in a factory for 20, 30 years and raise your kids and allow them to be something more. When you have that going on at the same time that you have kind of the social activism that we see on university campuses that are much less effusive about the blessings of liberty, and much more about how do we destroy the system so that we can recreate it in more of a communist manner, then what I would think would be kind of outliers in the society now have a willing populace to bring them along. And so again, it's not just China that's been able to essentially corrupt us through all the tools of modernity, and especially using IT. The two colonels talk about IT as the bonding agent for society and the way that you get control over society. But we've done it to ourselves by hollowing out the meaning of life for a big segment of our population. So I think that if you can restore that, if you can restore the dream of the working class so they can have jobs and they can really have hope. Really, we're talking about hope here. It's tied closely to economic prosperity and your own ability to have the ability to essentially provide for yourself and your family. This is very basic. It's something of human dignity. If you can have that, then this idea that America is a bad place, and we break each other on the differences rather than embracing the differences, then I think that you have the Chinese Communist Party's ability to kind of throw hand grenades in there and kind of make it worse diminishes. So there are economic factors, there are social, and there are political factors, and I think they all begin to be solved if we can just get some separation and ensure that we're investing in our own people. People, for the most part, here in the United States, if they have economic opportunity, if they can raise a family, if they can have long-term employment, if they can have hope for the future, they're not going to, whatever some professor is saying on some campus somewhere about, the fact that what you say is reality, not what is reality. If you say the sun revolves around the earth, well then that's your truth, right? That's your reality. That's what we have people saying today. Everybody knows that's crazy, but when you have a society that is not pursuing their own best outcomes, you create this division because people don't have hope. And I think that's where these things have gotten purchase is because of what happened at the end of the Cold War and this kind of parasitic relationship with China.
We live in an era of censorship and disinformation, and it can be really hard to know what's true and what's false in this information climate. To get honest information and insights you can trust, join us on Epoch TV. You can sign up for your 14-day free trial at ept.ms/free trial Jan. That's ept.ms/free trial JAN.
Around AI, we have this situation where, for example, Google has been very open to be doing AI R&D in China, where we know, again, based on what the kernels tell us, that everything has to be kind of dual use, military as well as public, but they won't do AI R&D, for example, with the US military. This was kind of a bizarre dichotomy. So that struck me as an incredible application of unrestricted warfare. How did they pull that off? It's almost hard to imagine. You make some pointed suggestions about how to do AI development in a way that would actually be kind of secure and thoughtful. I wonder if you could share that. And the second thing is a bit about your current work, which is, again, all about, it seems, countering the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, so first of all, I think what the two PLA kernels recognized was the power of information technology to change our lives, and to change our lives in ways that would actually promote the interests of the Chinese Communist Party. I can collect data about you because I can see the data that's collected by your smartphone, and I have access to that data. Like today, I could go home right after this. I could call somebody up and I could say, I was in this room in Washington, D.C. Here's the address. Can you draw a circle around that room? And I want you to go and find the devices in that room, and then I want you to watch those devices over the next 2 weeks. And then I want you to come back and tell me who owns those devices. And then I want you, after I know that, there's these two people that I want you to pay attention to. Watch everything that they do. Now, today, with software development kit data that's used for making apps for smartphones, you can buy that data on the open market. And it can be what's called GDPR data, right? It doesn't reveal your identity, but you can figure it out. Where do you go at night? Where do you keep going every single night? Oh, who lives in that house? Who owns that property? Who drives that car? You can begin to, this is what an Intel analyst can tell you. Okay, so now, if I know your device and I can watch everything you do, I can send you ads that are targeted directly to you that I want you to see. That can have, malware embedded, or it can have, it can just be something I want you to notice. When you're going somewhere, I can send you an ad for something and have you see it. So, and I have a way to interact with you. I have a way to track you. I have a way to understand everything that you do because I'm tracking this device now. That is the current reality. That happens today every single day, and it happens anywhere around the world. Anybody that's got a smartphone in their possession, that happens. Okay, that's one level of understanding which leads to a level of control. The next level of understanding and control is cameras. You walk out of here, you have no device, but there's cameras in the building, there's cameras outside the building, and those cameras pick you up. They have facial recognition, they have gait recognition, they have all kinds of forms of recognition that are peculiar to you. Again, so I start to track you. I start to understand what you're doing.